We're learning Tanya by the Alter Rebbe, the main work of Hasidus Chabad, and we are in chapter 9, Perek Tes, chapter 9. This is basically where everything starts to fit. From the beginning of the book, even from the cover of the book, the Alter Rebbe brought so many ideas and definitions, structure of the soul, and back and forth, and what happens, the different levels of sanctity, kedusha, holiness, and so on. All kinds of, again, structure. But it didn't really say, go do this, don't do that. Nothing at all, just structure. And now the Alter Rebbe, in these chapters, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 17, he really gives his explanation of everything, how it fits. What is an intermediate person, what is a wicked person, and so on. It all starts over here, Perek Tes, chapter 9. Behine, now, Mark and Mishkan Nefesh Abamis, Shemiklipas Noiga Bechol Ish Yisrael, Ubelei Bechalal Smoli, Shumale Dam, the place where it resides, where lives the animal soul that comes from this brilliant shell in every single Jew, that, as I mentioned many times, wrote the Tanya for Jews, and we're explaining how it may apply, and some things don't even apply to non-Jews. In this particular case, we explained in chapter 1 that non-Jews also have, like Bnei Noach, those who decide to go by the 7 laws and the unity of God and so on. They also have a soul from Klipas Noiga, from this brilliant shell. Even though that Rebbe doesn't say it, but his son says it, and okay, I explained it in chapter 1. Go back to chapter 1 to review that. But this idea applies also to non-Jews. So, this part of the soul, which is called the animal soul, again, that comes from this brilliant shell, Klipas Noiga, it resides in the heart, in the left side of the heart. Now, it's important to understand, the Alter Rebbe is not a physician, is not a medical guy, and he's not giving us a class on medicine. This is not the point over here. What he's explaining is something that relates from a spiritual level and it expresses in a physical way. But it doesn't mean that you take out the heart of a person and you put it in another person, you have a different soul in the soul. No, not at all. No. It just expresses itself. The heart is the vessel for the expression of the soul. That's why we feel feelings in the heart. Now, again, this left part of the heart is the place, the house, so to speak, the home of the animal soul. And this part of the heart is malei dam. It's full of blood. Now, the heart, it's like a pumping thing, and it pumps blood all over the body. And the truth is, it's full of blood and it's empty of blood. When it's in a small position, so to speak, it's empty of blood. And when it grows, it absorbs the blood and then it pumps and back and forth the whole life. That's what the heart does. So what does it mean that the left part is full of blood? And the right part that the Rebbe is going to say is empty of blood. What do you mean, empty, full? What are you talking about? Over here, the problem or the thing, the subject is that what's blood? Blood is the kli, the vessel to carry life throughout all the body. Like even in physician, medical science, blood carries oxygen and food for the cells and so on. That's what the blood is. But the truth is that we have 2 circuits of blood inside our body. One circuit of blood is with oxygen, quote unquote, blue blood. Of course, blood is not blue, it's red. Okay, I know that. But the point is, it's full of oxygen. And then there's another circuit of blood, empty, quote unquote, and of oxygen. It doesn't have oxygen. It has actually all the garbage of all the cells that are gathered throughout all the body, and they become, whatever, they go away from the body and so on. So we have 2 circuits of blood, blue and red. Let's call it like that, blue and red. So over here, when we're talking about the Nefesh Abamis, the animal soul, we're talking about blood full of life. Full of life means a person that is so into food, drinks, women, men, whatever the case is, a person is really, quote unquote, living the life, enjoying life. That's what it means, malay blood. It's full of blood. It's full of life. And we're not saying something nice. We're saying life of the one you don't want. Life of the physical world, life of material things, of animal life. That's what animals do. They go, they eat, they reproduce, and so on. So again, let's go back to the text. The place where the animal soul resides, it's in the left part of the heart, which is full of blood. And it's written, Ki Adamu HaNafesh. The blood is the soul, which again, it means that the blood carries livelihood throughout all the body and carries, again, life. But it doesn't mean that the blood is life. In Judaism, and this applies to Jews and to non-Jews, we accept blood transfusions and we give blood, and it's not a problem at all. But it says in so many places, actually more than once, the Adamu HaNafesh, that the blood is the soul. It means that the blood carries the soul throughout the body. And there's actually 86 milliliters of blood that really are life. And if you don't have that, that's it, dead. But it's always going throughout through the body, and you can never actually take out that. It goes out when a person dies, literally. And taking out blood, it doesn't mean to kill a person. Okay, so let's move on. V'lachen, and therefore, kol ha'tayves v'spirus v'kas v'domein and belief. That's why all these list of emotions, passions, and pride, and anger, and all these things are in the heart, are felt in the heart. Like the heart pumps stronger when these feelings actually circulate in our body. The science, of course, will explain why the heart pumps strongly. Because the body itself, literally, the body is getting ready to act, to do things. So when you're angry and you have to do something, and the heart starts pumping stronger in order to give livelihood to the body, to get it ready to act, to do something. That's how neuroscience explains the vagus nerve, it's a whole thing, which the Tanya doesn't talk about, but the point is that physically speaking, the body is getting ready to act, to do something. But even without that, it doesn't really matter. What we're trying to say is, do you feel it in the heart? Yes. The answer is yes. I feel it in the heart. What's the medical explanation? Okay, very nice. Go learn medicine and the vagus nerve and how it really controls the pumping of the heart, the heartbeat. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But what we're saying is something else. We're saying is, where do you feel it? I feel it in my heart. I'm angry. Where do you feel it? In the heart. I'm proud of myself. My heart, like my chest is like this. I'm so proud. Where do you feel it? In the heart. That's the truth. This is what the Alter Rebbe is talking about. That's all. The medicine part doesn't really matter right now. We're not negating that. It just doesn't matter. Ume halev, from the heart, hen mispashtes bechol haguf. They get spread out, these feelings, throughout all the body. The heart pumps this blood and takes it to the whole body. Vegam oile lemoyach shebarosh, and also to the brain, in the head. What for? These feelings go up to the head, from the heart to the head, to think about them, to contemplate them, and to really become smart on them. Smart means really think about it, how to accomplish that. I want to kill my neighbor. I'm so angry. Okay, I have to think, how? Do I take a knife? Do I take a gun? Do I just call him fool in his face? What do I do? So I have to think. Just as the blood, its source is in the heart, and from the heart it spreads out through the whole body to all the members of the body, all the organs of the body. And also it goes up to the brain in the head. So the Alter Rebbe is comparing, and he did this already in chapter 2, how the soul comes down and so on. And we're not going to go back to that, but the Alter Rebbe is comparing constantly. Look at the body itself, like the real physical body, and take that as an example of what happens in a spiritual realm. Just as the heart pumps blood through the whole body in a physical way, and you can open a body and you will see that. The same thing happens in a spiritual way. All these feelings, which are not physical things, they do have physical expressions in the body, the different products that the brain produces in the different places of the body, cortisol and whatever. Okay, that generates a state of feeling in your body. Okay, those feelings are spread out throughout the body. That's one side of the coin. On the other hand, the other side of the coin, until now we spoke about the animal soul. And now we're going to talk about the godly soul. Godly soul, as we explained in chapter 1 and chapter 2, this is not something Bnei Noach have, but definitely they have what is called in Hasidus nefesh hamaskeles, an intellectual soul. They're human beings. Tselem Elokim, they have an image of God in each one of the human beings on the face of the earth, Jews and non-Jews. So I would apply, I did not see this written anywhere, but I would apply these ideas that Alter Rebbe is saying to that particular part of the soul, to that particular expression of the soul, the intellectual soul. Any human being, let's call them normal, whatever normal means, any human being can think and can decide what to do with his life. For the good or for the better, for the evil, whatever. And basically, where's the place of this decision? In the brain. In the brain. Again, talking about normal people that have a brain and can use it and so on. So let's go back to the Tanya and see how this fits, so to speak, to any human being. Not exactly how the Alter Rebbe is explaining it, but it does fit anyway. The place where resides the godly soul, call it intellectual soul, Tselem Elokim, the image of God in every single human being, it's in the brain, in the head. And from there, it spreads out to all the members of the body. And also to the heart. In the right side, that doesn't have blood. Again, as we explained before, both sides have blood. What are you talking about? The problem over here is what kind of blood? Charged blood or uncharged blood, so to speak, with oxygen or without oxygen. So again, maybe I'm repeating too much myself, but I wanted to make this clear. The Alter Rebbe is explaining two movements over here. From below to above, from the heart into the brain, and from the brain into the heart. But not on the same place of the heart. There's a left side of the heart, and there's a right side of the heart. From the heart into the brain, up to the brain, goes from the left side of the heart to the whole body, including the brain. And from the brain to the heart, including the whole rest of the body, the rest of the whole body, to the right side of the heart. And as it's written, so the Alter Rebbe is proving this from a verse, is not a craziness that the Alter Rebbe made up. Leiv chacham liyaminoi. The heart of the wise person is to his right. Now, Shlomo Melech, King Solomon, wrote this verse, and probably he understood what the heart is like, and what does it mean? That you only have a right part of the heart, or maybe also a left. He's not saying wise people only have a right side and the stupid people have a left side. No, that's not what he's talking about. He's saying when a person lives his life influenced by the brain, so he's a wise person. And that's why the heart, quote unquote, of a wise person is to his right. It's not that it's on the right of the body, it's on the left. Everybody has their heart in the same place. Forget it, it's towards the left. But it means, how do you live your life? I live my life with my heart, quote unquote, towards the heart, towards the right. And what does it mean to live your life with your heart towards the right? What does that mean? Ahavas Hashem keresh pei shaleves mislaheves belev maskilim amevinim u'mizboinim bedaitom asher bemoichom. This is a long phrase. I'll translate a piece of it. It means love for God as a flame. Resh pei shalev is like a burning flame that really excites the heart of those who understand, and they grasp and they meditate with their understanding that is in their brains. What do they meditate about? Things that actually arouse the love for God. That's what it means to live your life with your heart towards the right. And that's only going to happen with your brain. Parenthesis, I know I'm really jumping, but I think it's important to show and to understand the difference. From chapter 18 on, the Alter Rebbe is going to explain a completely different method of serving God. On these chapters, from 1 to 17 included, the Alter Rebbe explains, use your mind. You have a brain on top of your shoulders, use it. And the brain, as we're going to learn, on top of your shoulders, the Alter Rebbe is going to say this in chapter 13, 14, it has the power to control your heart. So use that power, control your heart. And this happens even in a physical way. There's a story, I think it's an interesting story to mention it, to understand what the Alter Rebbe is saying actually here. There was a Chassid, Moshe Meislish was his name. He was a Chassid of the Alter Rebbe. And the Alter Rebbe, he passed away 1812. The Alter Rebbe lived in the south of Russia, and he was over there in the times that Napoleon from France wanted to conquer Russia. He couldn't. But whatever, the Alter Rebbe was over there, and the Alter Rebbe was very much against Napoleon. Really, really against Napoleon. And he worked actually he served, so to speak, the Tsar of Russia against Napoleon. And one of the ways he served is by sending this Moshe Meislish. This guy, Moshe, was proficient in French, Russian, English. He was a very, very special Chassid. Complete expert in Hasidus, in Torah. He was a one-of-a-kind Chassid. And he was a spy for Russia against the French. But the French didn't know this, and they thought he was a regular Jew. You know, he looked like with a beard and everything. He was like a stupid Jew that just knew too many languages, French and German and everything. So they used him to translate for them, for the French and Russians and so on. But he was a spy. And the generals really trusted this Moshe Meislish so much that they discussed their war plans in front of him. And they didn't care. And he informed the Russians about the plans the French had. One time they were discussing with a map. The map was on the floor, and they were discussing how to put the armies and so on. And suddenly, and Moshe Meislish was there listening, and suddenly Napoleon himself walks into the room, and he looks around, and he sees his generals, and there's a Jew over there. He runs towards the Jew, Moshe Meislish, and he puts his hand into his chest. Puff! And he says, "You are a spy!" And Moshe Meislish just stay over there. He didn't get excited or anything. He just said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Okay, so Napoleon saw that since Moshe Meislish was not excited, so to speak, so probably he's not a spy. So they continued arguing and so on, the plans and so on. And then later, Moshe Meislish explained. In that particular moment, that second, my mind controlled my heart. By learning Hasidus and understanding what Alter Rebbe is saying over here, he's going to say in Tanya and so on, my mind physically controlled the heartbeat of my heart. And that's why they didn't discover me. Otherwise, I would be dead, completely dead. Imagine the nervousness. This guy comes in. "You're a spy." "Yeah, I am." Okay, you're done. Okay, I think it's an interesting story. Why? Because basically this is what the Alter Rebbe, the system the Alter Rebbe is going to explain, is starting to explain in this chapter. Again, there's an influence from the heart to the mind, and there's an influence from the mind to the heart. How does the heart influence the mind? He just said, you have the taivas, you have passions, and you have pride, and you have anger, and so on, that goes from the heart into the mind to think about it, and you really get really angry because now I have a justification of why to get angry, and it explodes. And then the other way around, from the mind into the heart. To do what? To accomplish what? Love God. Don't just think about it. Yeah, God is very big and very important. Feel it. So it goes down from the mind into the heart. See how the Alter Rebbe is quoting the same things he said before. Before he mentioned taives, passions. What does it mean passions? Passions means I love alcohol. I love it. I drink it so much every day, the whole day. I love it. It's a problem, of course, but what the person feels is, I love it. Okay, stop loving alcohol and love God. So he quoted taives, passions, and now he quoted passions for God. And then he said, ispirus, pride. Pride, of course, I'm the richest person in town, I'm the most important person, blah, blah, blah. And now the Alter Rebbe is saying, what's the counterpart, the positive counterpart? Simchas leivav, the happiness of the heart, v'tiferes Hashem, in the beauty of God. V'hadar ge'oinoi, in the beauty of His power. Kasher einei achacham asher beroishe b'moyach chochmasu v'nosei mistaklim b'yikar de malko. How can you be happy with the beauty of God? Because tiferes, ispirus, means pride and beauty, is the same word. How can you actually grasp the beauty of God when the eyes of the wise person that are in his head, that are actually in his brain, with his wisdom and his understanding, contemplates, look, beikar de malka, in the glory of the king. So look around you, the world you have around you, and you will see the glory of God in the creation and the greatness of God. V'tiferes gedulasai aden kates, and the beauty of His greatness without limit. Vein soif, again, kates, soif, basically it's the same thing. Without limit, v'tachlis, no limit. As it's explained somewhere else. Like, I'm not going to explain it right now, a whole meditation. That's not the point, says Alter Rebbe. Go look somewhere else, whatever. Meditate on the greatness of God by looking at creation. The same thing happens with all the rest of emotions, holy emotions, shebalev, that are in the heart. Where do they come from? Chabad Chassidism. They come from the brain from the different capacities of chochmah, bina, das, whatever, wisdom and so on, from the brain. Okay. So we have two movements, from below up, from up below. However, it's written, it's written in the Torah that one nation is going to be fighting with another nation, and when one goes up, the other one goes down, and so on. There's a whole fight. What does it mean for us today? Ki aguf nikra ir ktana. Why do you call them nations? Like, who are these nations fighting? The body is called a small city. And just as two kings are fighting for the control, of course, of one city, each one of these kings wants to conquer this city and be the king on this city. That means, what does it mean to be a king? To conduct the inhabitants of the city according to his will. They should do whatever I want. And that every single individual of the city should actually do what he says, his orders, follow his orders. Whatever he decrees. Just as these two kings, it's an example, fight for one city. The same thing happens with the two souls we've been explaining before. In the case of Bnei Noach, I would definitely say the animal soul and the Tselem Elokim, the image of God, inside of each one of us, the intellectual soul, they fight. They make war one with the other, alaguf, for the body, and all its members. Each one of them, these two kings are the two souls, fighting inside of each one of them, of us. And this explains basically why we all, definitely all, live a life of conflict between good, bad, what should I do, what should I not do, and so on. Everybody has this conflict. Why? Because we are this. This is how God created us. That we have this conflict, and it's never going to stop. The Alter Rebbe is going to say this later, much later. Never going to stop. So these two souls are fighting for the body and all its members. The godly soul, or the intellectual soul for non-Jews, wants to be she alone, the one governing, the one ruling over this body and conducting the body and all the members. Each one of them should listen to what she says and nullify to her legamri, completely. And they should be like a chariot that only follows where the conductor of the chariot takes it. And the body should be, and the body and all its members should be like a garment for the 10 levels of the soul that we explained, chapter 2, chapter 3, 4. And the 3 garments mentioned in chapter 4. All the members, quote unquote, of the godly soul, the intellectual soul, for non-Jews, should actually invest in the members of the body. And the body should be completely full of them, just them. In other words, that the whole body should be a chariot for godliness. That's what the godly soul wants. Do good, in very short words. It should not come a stranger inside, God forbid. More in detail, the 3 powers of the brain that are in the head should be full with the 3 powers of the soul, wisdom, understanding, and comprehension, whatever, in the soul, from the godly soul. What does that mean? The wisdom of the godly soul, the wisdom of God. And what does it mean, the understanding of the godly soul? To meditate on the greatness of God that has no end, no whatever, and another expression for the same idea. And to bear, so to speak, make be born, something like that, through the comprehension, ira b'moichoi, fear for God in your brain, ufachad Hashem beliboy, and fear for God in your heart. See that he uses ira for the brain and pachad for the heart. Basically, the translation is the same, but the idea is it's either an intellectual thing or an emotional thing. And also, God, love for God, like a fire burning in your heart, like literally a burning flame, in order that your soul should consume itself for God. In which way? In yearning and wanting to attach itself to the infinite, Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Blessed be He. With all your heart, with all your soul, really, really from the deepness of your heart, in your right side of the heart, as we explained before. What does that mean? The heart should be inside, full of love, molle vegodush, in such a way that is full of love for God. And godush, I don't know how to translate this word, which like when you put too much into a vessel and it just starts going out. It overflows, the vessel. To the point that it spreads out also to the left side of the heart. So we see that the right side of the heart is so full of love for God. Why does it have love for God? Because it's meditating on this, and that spreads out into the left side of the heart. And what does it accomplish over there? To subjugate the other side that we explained in chapter 6. The fundament, the element of water that is evil inside of it. And what does it mean, the water? In chapter 1 he explained, it's the passions, from this brilliant shell, to transform it. This passion for alcohol or whatever, transform it from the pleasures of this world into love for God. As it's written, the Torah says you have to love God with all your heart. And our sages ask in the Talmud, what do you mean all your heart? It's written with two letters base. Should be written with one letter base, with all your heart. Why does it say two-letter base? With your both inclinations. The good inclination, of course, loves God. The question is, what about the evil inclination? Okay, it should also learn to love God. You should also learn to love God. That means, it's like a long thing. In other words, says the Alter Rebbe, that he should go up and reach the level of a profound love for God. Ahava Rabba is like a big love. Bechiba and real wanting. Chiba Yesedem is like, you really want this. It is such a powerful level of love, like a burning fire, and this is what is called in the Torah, Ahava Betainugim, a pleasurable love for God. Between parentheses, it's interesting to mention, this is Hasidus, it's the Alter Rebbe, very nice. The truth is that when the Rambam is explaining, Rambam, year 1000 Spain, explaining what does it mean to love God, he uses similar words. Like a person that is so in fire for love for God, and you can't live without this, like a person loves his wife. And he gives such a description. So it's not that Alter Rebbe is saying, Hasidim are so nuts, they love God. No. This is what Torah is talking about. This is actually what Judaism teaches. We should be loving God. Okay, I would say to stop here, because this moves on, but what we're describing over here, it's important to understand where we're going. What we are describing over here is how the love for God ends up, or should end up, spreading out throughout the whole body and transforming the evil inclination that a person has into something good. And then the Alter Rebbe is going to say, but wait a second, there's another king wanting exactly the opposite. It's not so easy. Okay, so the Alter Rebbe is going to continue, Be'ezras Hashem, God willing, in the next class.